This is Joe Nicasio, and the topic of today is how to be a better implementer. Now, we all learn so many things, but information's important, but what's even more important is implementation and the transformation. Today specifically though, I want to talk to you a little bit about implementation. Inch by inch, life is a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. If you have big projects, we want to break them into baby steps. A lot of times we learn things, we want to implement them, and we get disappointed, we get discouraged, we get distracted, and for some reason we don't implement what we learned. Sometimes this happens. We go to a seminar, we fill up journals with all these great ideas, and then we end up having a box of journals. How many of you have a box of journals like that? I do. And so what I'm going to share with you today, what I'm going to help you learn is ways to get easy wins and how to create more encouragement and get more focus and GSD, get more shit done. I've got about 5 ideas, but the main one I want to really emphasize today is inch by inch, life is a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The quality of being there is the steps it takes to get there. Sometimes when we're trying to implement something, solve a problem, get something done, we need to hit it from a different angle. We need a different approach, and if we can break it into baby steps, we end up getting a lot more done. A lot of times I'll do a coaching call and I'll give people great information. I'll give them clear next steps and by when. Do you know what to do? Yes. Do you know how to do it? Yes. When are you going to get started? Now. And then a week later I come back and they haven't really done it. And what happens sometimes is something just appears too big, and so they stall it out. There's this old metaphor, this old adage, how to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I teach a lot of things, in the big scope of what I do as a business coach and help people grow their businesses. There's a lot of moving pieces, but there's some keys to implementation that are kind of universal. What are the 5 things you need to implement anything? Number 1 is you need to know what to do. And there's millions of what to do. So just sorting through what's the right what to do. If you do a Google search on how should I market my business, you'll get millions, hundreds of millions of hits on Google of how you should market your business. And so, but you got to choose one. What's the right one for you? So that takes a little bit of it takes some discernment, it takes some wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. So number 1 is what specifically do you need to do? Are you working on the right stuff? Number 2 is how do you do it? How do you, there's a lot of nuance in implementation. There's a lot, if you use the wrong wrench, if you use the wrong screwdriver, if you use the wrong tools, if you use the wrong approach, okay, you need to do a webinar. Well, how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of moving parts to doing a webinar, or you need to do some organic lead generation. Well, what are the nuances? So you need to know what to do to implement. You need to know how to do it. You need to know the nuances. Number 3, you need to have the right resources. And I'm not just talking about money here. I feel sad for people that only have money in their resource toolbox. You need to have the right resources. You need to have the right tools. You need to have the right formulas. You need to have right frameworks. You need to have the right principles. So you need the right resources. If you use, it's that saying, if the only tool you have is a hammer, you treat everything as a nail. So you need to have a resourceful toolbox. You need to have resourcefulness. The 4th major key to implementation is you need feedback. You need expert feedback. You don't need bubblegum feedback from people that don't know what they're doing. So you need both positive and negative feedback. You need to know positive feedback to know you're doing good enough. A lot of people are perfectionists and they're like, ready, aim, recalibrate, ready, aim, recalibrate, ready, aim, recalibrate. And they're so perfectionistic they never take action. So you need positive expert feedback to say, hey, it's good enough, pull the trigger, take action. And you also need negative feedback. You need to know, okay, you've made a good effort, but there's some missing pieces. You got a good offer, but you need to add your risk reversal. You need to have a guarantee to make it safe for people to buy, etc. We're either too perfectionistic, we don't take action, or we want to take action and there's some missing pieces. So if you have positive and negative expert feedback, that's going to help you implement. And the 5th piece is accountability. As a coach, as a mentor, I'm often telling my clients, I'm your best friend in your worst nightmare. I'm your best friend because I will teach you what it takes to help you grow a business. And I'm going to be your worst nightmare because I'm going to make you do what you're supposed to be doing, even if you don't feel like doing it. Look, why did you sign up for a program if you're not going to take action? A good coach will hold your feet to the fire and make sure you do what you're doing when you're supposed to be doing it. And I think even most importantly, in terms of implementation, you don't need to be focusing on doing 100 things. You need to be figuring out what's the next right thing to do. The next right thing makes life a lot simpler. If you're focused on too many things, you're spinning plates, things start falling apart. If you can accomplish one thing and then say, okay, what's the next right thing, and accomplish another thing, your implementation will go through the roof. And as long as you're working on the next right thing, and if you're really majoring in majors, you're not majoring in minors, you can accomplish and implement a lot. You know, my job as a coach is not to beat you up for not getting your stuff done. My job is to keep you moving on the path to take action on the things that are truly important. This is the work we do. Once upon a time, I coached a couple brothers in Scotland, and they're very wealthy brothers. I mean, they both did about 40K a month each, and I asked them, what's your 3-year vision? And both of them were driving Bentleys already. I'm just trying to imagine what kind of car I'll be driving. It's like I'm already driving a Bentley, and it's like, dude, you got the car thing handled. In order to implement the exercise, okay, what's your vision for 3 years? They couldn't do that. So by shifting my approach and breaking it down and presenting a different way, it's like, what do you want your legacy to be? When you're dead and gone, how do you want to be remembered, by your kids, your family, the world? And they were able to do it. So a lot of times when we're going to implement an exercise, implement something that's important, it's hard for us to see it from like a 3-year angle. But if we shift the angle a little bit and come at it from a legacy angle, it makes all the difference in the world. If you're watching this video, you probably study a lot of personal development. You go to a lot of seminars and you read a lot of books. And yet, are you truly implementing the things that you're learning? If you learn something and you don't apply, have you really learned it? There's an ancient Chinese saying that says to know and not to do is not to know. So if you're tired of just learning and you want to actually implement more, you can try and figure that stuff on your own, or I got a great group coaching program that I do every Saturday, and if you'd like to get little breakthroughs every week, bite-sized business breakthroughs is what we call it. Every week we work on different aspects of your business, and if you improve 1% here and 3% there and 12% here and 2% there, every week if you're creating improvements in all the different aspects of your business, these things accumulate and can help you build a solid business. 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Are you going to be one of those statistics, or are you going to get a coach to help you out so that you become one of the success statistics and not one of the failure statistics? If you want my help, send me a private message. I would love to be your business coach for the next 12 months. This is Joe Nicasio. I am an entrepreneur maker, and I help business people who are frustrated because their business isn't growing fast enough, and I help them get those bite-sized business breakthroughs every week in their business. If you'd like my help, reach out. God bless you.